There are 30 photos of the same face on your phone. Same room, same light, slightly different angles. Picking one takes 5 minutes, and once you've picked it, you soften your jawline before it goes up. So far, nothing unusual. That's most of us. The strange part comes next. The photo gets better, and the next morning, standing in front of the mirror, you like your face slightly less than you did the day before. Something that wasn't there yesterday is suddenly there. You're improving, and you like yourself less. That's backwards. Effort is supposed to leave you more satisfied. Here it moves the other way. The more you fix, the more there is to fix. If any of that sounds familiar, stay with me. About 80 years ago, someone wrote down why. So here's what I want to say today. What you fixed was your face. What changed was the eye looking at it. When you work on how you look, your face isn't the only thing that changes. The place you're looking from shifts too. It slides out of your own eyes and into somebody else's, and that eye is never satisfied. We're taught that effort leads to improvement, and improvement leads to peace. With appearance, the chain snaps. Not because the face fails to improve, because somebody else is holding the scorecard now. So today, 3 things. The moments when we hand our own eye over. What one man found after a lifetime spent on that question, and one question you can ask yourself tonight. The man who described this most precisely spent his whole life at war with his own face. The French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre. He was 7. He had curls falling across his face. His mother had let them grow long and fussed over them every morning. Then his grandfather decided the boy was starting to look like a girl. One afternoon, while his mother was out, the old man took him on an outing. The treat turned out to be a barber shop. The boy came home thrilled. He wanted his mother to see. She looked at him once, went up to her room, and cried. Those curls had been covering something. At 3, after a serious illness, Sartre had lost most of the sight in his right eye. A white scar formed on the cornea, and the eye drifted outward. As an adult, he stood just over 5 feet, and he called himself ugly for the rest of his life. We know about that afternoon because he wrote it down himself. In his memoir, The Words, he calls it the day he learned he was ugly. And this is the part that matters. It wasn't a mirror that showed Sartre his face, it was his mother's face. In 1943, he published Being and Nothingness. Somewhere in the middle of that book, there's a long passage on what he calls the look, the gaze in some translations. Picture it. You're in a hallway, crouched at a door, watching a room through the keyhole. In that moment, there is no you. There is only the scene on the other side. You're the one doing the seeing. And then you hear footsteps behind you. In that instant, you see yourself. Or more precisely, you see the self that someone else is about to see. A person in a hallway with an eye pressed to a keyhole. Shame arrives right there. Sartre put it this way: shame is by nature recognition. I recognize that I am as the other sees me. Put simply, shame isn't something you produce on your own. It's an agreement. You look at what they see, and you sign off on it. He had a name for the moment too. Transcendence transcended. Take it apart, and it's simple enough. Transcendence was his word for reaching out past yourself toward the world. Transcendence transcended is that reach getting caught in midair and turned into a thing. The eye that was looking at the world becomes an object in somebody else's field of vision. So the look isn't a tool for observing other people. It's a force that builds part of you from the outside. You can see where it shows up in an ordinary day. It's there when you're deciding how much retouching is too much for a passport photo. It's there in the few minutes you spend wondering whether to change your profile picture before you leave the old one up anyway. It's there in that little window of your own face, down in the corner of a video call. The one you keep checking while everybody else is talking. The person looking at that window is you. The way you're looking isn't yours. And the other person can leave while the eye stays behind. It's already inside you. That's how you can stand alone in a bathroom with nobody watching and still judge yourself through a stranger's eyes. Think about the words you'd use to describe yourself. Tall, loud, plain, intense. Almost none of them are words you arrived at by looking inward. They bounced off other faces and came back to you. When there were plenty of faces, the verdicts disagreed. One person called you intense, another called you shy, and the disagreement kept any single word from hardening into the truth. It's when the faces come down to one that the verdict sticks. That's the philosophy. Has anyone actually measured any of it? They have. In 2018, a team led by the Canadian psychologist Jennifer Mills ran an experiment with 110 female undergraduates divided into 3 groups. The first group took one selfie and posted it untouched. The second took several, chose the one they liked, retouched it, and posted that, which is what most of us actually do. The third group did nothing. They measured mood and body image before and after. The women who posted ended up more anxious and less confident than the ones who did nothing, and less happy with how they looked. That much you might have guessed. The part I didn't expect comes next. The retouched group landed in the same place. They picked the photo they liked best. They smoothed it before it went up, and it made no difference. It's one study, and 110 undergraduates aren't the world, so I'm not going to treat it as settled. But it does rule out one thing. And that's worth something. It kills the hope that retouching helps. Retouching doesn't help. Posting at all was enough to do the damage. And if posting at all was enough, then the 5 minutes of choosing aren't buying you any protection. They're just extra reps of the same thing. You've been training your eye to find the flaw. 30 photos, 30 repetitions. That training doesn't stop when the app closes. It's still running the next morning in front of the mirror. 2 Australian psychologists, Jasmine Fardouli and Lenny Vartanian, pulled the research together into a review. One thread keeps surfacing: appearance comparison. Not hours spent on a screen, but how many times you measure yourself against someone while you're there, which puts the emphasis somewhere slightly odd. The damage doesn't come from the beautiful stranger on the screen. It comes from the small, almost invisible act of holding yourself up next to them. That act takes about a second. It happens over and over in a day, and you almost never do it on purpose. So, would deleting the apps fix it? Probably not. The same review is honest about the other side of the evidence. Back when Facebook was most of the internet, researchers had young women look at their own profiles for a few minutes. They didn't end up feeling any worse about how they looked. Looking at a screen doesn't automatically damage anything. If the app were the whole problem, this would be an easier conversation. And what about people who are beautiful to begin with? Are they spared? This has a name online now: Looksmaxxing. Maximizing your appearance, run like a project, with stages and metrics. Under a video essay about Looksmaxxing, someone left a comment. It's a stranger on the internet, so it proves nothing. But they wrote that 2 of their friends are actresses and several are models. None of those friends do any of this, and they're insecure anyway. From the outside, it makes no sense, the commenter said. From where those friends are standing, in front of the mirror, the flaw is the only thing there is. Which fits. If somebody else is holding the scorecard, a good number on it doesn't protect you. There was another comment under the same video, from someone who used to be deep in all of this. They'd cut way back, they said, and it hadn't made the feeling go away. They still couldn't leave the house without doing their face first. Not because they liked it, because they couldn't stand being seen any other way. That's the shape of the thing. The routine you can drop in a month. Whatever taught you to check your face stays a lot longer. One more thing. None of this is an argument against caring about how you look. Sartre never claimed we could get rid of the other person's eye. As long as we're among people, we're visible. That isn't a flaw to be corrected, it's a condition. And that lift you get walking out the door in something you like, it's real. The trouble isn't having many eyes on you, it's being down to one. and the one that's left isn't yours. One thing to take with you. There's a part of your appearance you'd change first if you could. Your nose, your jaw, your hairline, whatever just came to mind. And there's a question worth asking about it. Who pointed it out first? Maybe a name comes back. But the name isn't the main thing. How old you were, where you were standing, the look on their face when they said it. 9 times out of 10, it wasn't your eye. It was someone in the next seat at school, or a relative making some offhand remark at a family dinner, or someone laughing at something else entirely. They don't remember saying it. It cost them nothing. You've been using their eye every morning since. And if no name comes back, that's worth noticing too. Some of those flaws nobody handed you. You built them yourself, out of 100 small comparisons with nobody in particular at the other end. That's a different problem, and it's a gentler one, because there's no one to hand the eye back to. Either way, it starts in the same place. You notice the eye is borrowed. You don't have to give it back. Just say whose it is. You might try that tonight. Back to the 30 photos. 30 photos meant 30 rounds of grading, which leaves one question. Who was holding the scorecard? Same camera roll, but after that question it looks different. Not a face with 30 flaws in it. A day when you borrowed someone else's eye 30 times. Maybe what we should be asking isn't how our faces looked today. Maybe it's whose eyes we spent the day looking through. Sartre put it in one line. Between you and yourself, there has always been somebody standing in the middle. The other is the indispensable mediator between myself and me. I am ashamed of myself as I appear to the other. Thank you for walking this far with me.
You fixed the face, the eyes, the thing that moved. Morning glass and I'm already finding what wasn't there before. 30 of the same face saved and the